In this video, I'm going to do a horseshoe bending progression. This is level 1. And if you're new to the channel, hit the like button and subscribe. So what I have here is the first horseshoe that is the easiest horseshoe to bend. And this horseshoe right here is a heavy steel training plate. This is what I would recommend if you were just starting out. It's not too hard. Most people should be able to bend this horseshoe on the first try. This right here is a heavy steel training plate, and this is where I got it here from. It's from Thoroughbred. They make a lot of excellent horseshoes. I'll put a link in the description below so you can check more about that out. Okay, so some of the basics here are, you always want to make sure that if you're beginning right now, you want to make sure that the horseshoe always has a this crease in it. See this crease? It makes it easier to bend. Now if you go out and you do get a horseshoe and you think you could just bend it like this, it may work, it may not work, but this is the easiest one to start working with. And if it doesn't have this crease in it right here, it's going to be a lot harder to bend. The crease makes it easier to bend. You know, once you get through the progression levels, you'll be able to bend tougher horseshoes. Again, this one is just the beginning horseshoe right now. There are probably a million different horseshoes out there, but again, this is the safest one and one of the weakest ones to start off with. So we're starting off with this one right here. And this is what it looks on the back side. These are little punch holes, punch marks. This is what it looks up close. What it looks like up close. Now, before we begin, you always want to make sure that you have some wraps. These wraps will protect your hands from getting cut by the horseshoe. It'll protect them from accidentally getting scraped. Because a lot of pressure is being put on the hands, you want to make sure that you have these wraps. These wraps are suede wraps. I recommend these because you can just tie them up with a rubber band and put them on the end of the horseshoes, which I'll show you how to get into that later and how that process works there. And you want to make sure you have a piece of cloth, because in the beginning your thigh is going to get really bruised. At least mine did when I first started to do this. So you want to make sure just get a regular piece of cloth. I'd recommend just getting something that can take the withstand of the horseshoe. So, and then you just go ahead and you'll put it in your pocket. And I'll show you more about that later on once we actually bend the horseshoe. But we still got a couple more things to cover before we get to that part. Right. Okay, so when we're going to be wrapping the horseshoes, let's say you're a right-handed person. What you want to do is make sure that you have this right here, this side of the horseshoe, on your left hand. And now I'm going to show you how to wrap it properly. So now what we'll do here is I'll get it like this. Now the important thing to realize when I'm doing this, looking at it from my angle, I can't see the horseshoe once I wrap it. So what I'm doing right here is, for example, this is not, I'm not able to see this right here, but I'm able to see, you're able to see it right here. So what I'll do here is now begin to just wrap it this way. And then I'll tighten it up here. Do a little twist. Now to finish this off, what I'll do here is also grab some rubber bands and tie it around so it doesn't come off. So I got the rubber band right here, and I'll just place it on here. And this is the first part of the horseshoe that has been wrapped. Now I'll go ahead and do the second hand of the horseshoe. Okay, so now we have the second half here, and I'm just going to do the same thing. Still, this side is going on, put this on my left hand side, and then I will do it the same way I did it before. So on this one right here, I'm not able to see the horseshoe, but if I turn it around, I can see it. Okay, so again, go ahead and wrap it again. And you can use as many rubber bands as you need. I usually find that one on each side works for me. So, alright, so now we have the horseshoe. It is wrapped and it is all ready to go. And now I can show you the technique of how to bend it. Okay. Alright, so this is how we're going to start the horseshoe bend. You always want to make sure that you have the stronger hand on the bottom of the horseshoe, and then the weaker hand goes on top of the horseshoe. So for example, this is how it looks. Okay, so what we're going to do to actually bend this horseshoe is we're going to put our strongest hand on the bottom and the weakest hand on top. So it looks like this. This is the stronger hand and this is the weaker hand. So now what we'll do here is begin to put it against the thigh. Now when we have it on the thigh area, we always want to make sure that it's at an angle like this. We don't want to make sure that it's like this, because what will happen is if it's like this, it'll be very hard to bend. And you might not even be able to bend it at all. So you want to make sure it's at an angle. Now, one of the important things to remember is that this will dig into the thigh. So if you're not wearing any sort of protection, you might actually get cut or you might get even bruised even more. So what I recommend previously was to make sure that you have this cloth. Again, just a normal cloth, and you just wrap it up and put it like this in your pocket. Also, I recommend using jeans for this and then putting a pair of cloth in it. So again, the right hand, stronger hand, is on the bottom, weaker hand is on the top. And now when we get down like this, we're going to squat a little bit, okay? And what's going to happen here is with this hand, I'm going to be pushing up. With this hand, I'm going to be pushing down. So again, this hand pushes up and this hand pushes down. So this is how the bend will go. So again, it's at an angle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. You can even bring it up here, but remember, as the heat, remember you want to go as fast as possible. As you twist it, the steel will begin to heat up, and that's when it's at its weakest point. So you always want to make sure that you're bending it as fast as possible once it begins to bend, because when it's heating up, it's at its weakest point. So this right here is the end product. Okay, so this here is the end product of the horseshoe. As you can see, it is a bent in an S shape right here. So that's the end product right here. Alright, so if you like this video, I want you to go ahead and hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. In the next video series, what I'm going to do is a progressively stronger horseshoe. And then after that, in another video, I'm going to show you also how I train to bend these horseshoes. Because there's a million different horseshoes out there. I'll talk about the different styles and, again, how I personally train to bend these horseshoes. Alright, so I will see you in the next video, and have a good Friday, and I'll see you next time.